Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. Here we bring you the latest developments from India's unexplored Northeast region. Friends, music makes the world go round. Today we are going to talk about the music scene in Nagaland. Did you know that there exists a unique system of administration in one part of Sikkim? We have details on this for our listeners. Manipur, which is inhabited by a number of tribal communities with its distinct culture, is regarded as a heaven for tourists. Aiming to increase the beauty of the state, a street art project titled Paint Ukhrul was initiated in the Ukhrul district of Manipur. We have a report from our Imphal correspondent, JJ Thokchom.
Ukhrul is a hilly district of Manipur and known for its friendly climatic conditions and enchanting natural beauty. Recently, a street art project, Paint Ukhrul, was started in the district. The aim of the project is to make the district a colorful gallery of artworks, thus making the town beautiful. Around 100 local painting artists, both professionals and amateurs, joined the project and paint all available walls and spaces on 22nd of last month. The theme of project is specifically based on the concept of culture, flora and fauna, environment and social issues. The idea of painting the town with street art took shape during a seminar held in the district headquarters on October 16. A proprietor of Art Cafe and a leader of an NGO initiated the project. Speaking to Northeast Diary about the project, Lemyao Simre of NGO Nagaware said that project will be continued till 2023. She said that the project will be expanded to other districts of Manipur gradually.
This project Paint Ukhrul is initiated by me and my associate partner Sore Keshing, who is the founder of Dandad Art Cafe. Since from ancestor, closely knitted with the culture and identity. Manipur is a place where it is like bubbling with culture, with identity and a rich heritage and all. So I noticed that they were very talented. So we thought like, why don't we gather and like do something for them, to give platform for them, exposure. Our main aim is to give educational also and then like message also. So we are concentrating on the identity, culture, flora and fauna, and then environmental and social issues. Most of the students are like self-taught. So we just gave them like flexibility of time. It depends on their own timing, their convenient time. They will come, pick up their paint and brush and go to their spot and like throw. What we are focusing is not only Ukhrul. We have lots of other districts also.
The project has provided young local artists with platform and exposure needed to make them grow and develop professionally. Moreover, the art gallery has sown the seeds of unity and communal harmony among the communities by depicting the different arts on cultural aspect of different communities. This is JJ Thokchom from Imphal for Northeast Diary AIR News.
Nagas are passionate about music. Not only that, they are gifted with the innate ability to create, perform, understand musical concepts and appreciate music at a deeper level. Besides this, rich musical tradition of the state has now become a source of revenue. True to this, the first ever Nagaland Guitar Festival 2021 was held in Mokokchung on October 22nd. We have a report from our Kohima correspondent.
Mokokchung district of Nagaland, which is home to Ao Naga tribe, hosted the first Nagaland Guitar Festival 2021. Organized by the Mokokchung Events Management in partnership with Task Force for Music and Arts, TAFMA, Government of Nagaland and supported by Nagaland Musician Collective, the festival witnesses various events including guitar workshops, interactive sessions with renowned guitarists, live shows, demos, performances by renowned guitarists, music schools, institutions and tutors or mentors. Besides, a live competitions on 6-string guitar contest was also conducted during the festival. Talipokam Pongana, member of the organizing team, said,
So this year's event was a seed event highlighting the essence and flavor purely based on our context.
With the Nagaland government all out to help the musician, tapping the young talents and channelizing their talents to the outside world, the Nagaland government has also declared that the Nagaland Guitar Festival will be an annual affair which will be held in Mokokchung. This is Asunyo from AIR News, Kohima for Northeast Diary.
The tourism industry was badly hurt by COVID-19 all across the globe. As travel restrictions and states are opening up for tourists, various agencies of the government are working to devise new ways and strategies to revive one of the most important industries which brings in revenue to the government's coffer. Let us hear what is happening on this front in Meghalaya from our Shillong correspondent.
The Northeast region is regarded as one of the most affordable and sought-after tourist destinations across the country. But due to the ongoing pandemic, the region has seen fewer footfalls of tourists in recent past. As travel ban and restrictions have been lifted, various agencies of the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India is coming up with new strategies to promote tourism once again. S.S. Dev Burman, Regional Director for Northeast Ministry of Tourism, stated that the ministry is making new ways and strategies to revive tourism industry in this region. Under the leadership of the new Union Tourism Minister, the industry will be able to successfully recover the loss incurred due to COVID-19-induced lockdowns. He also added that the government is now inviting private participation to strategize new ways.
As far as destruction and damages happened due to the pandemic, really, unaccountable. Northeast India suffered much. The tourism industry completely devastated due to this global pandemic. Now, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India has taken a lot of initiatives to develop this region. Now, we hope that there will be huge development, and the momentum of the development will be now very fast. Tourism products of Northeast is an ideal. 90% tourism products are based on nature. So we have the tremendous nature-based tourism products. We are very much hopeful that as the tourism has now started opening up and the COVID protocol also bit relaxed, now there will be huge surge in the tourism sectors.
It is now hopeful that the tourism industry could bounce back in Meghalaya and other adjoining regions as direct flight services are operational from Umroi Airport of Shillong to the national capital and other regional cities of the Northeast. This is Rustam for Northeast Diary from AIR News Shillong.
We know about hundreds of tales of freedom struggle and about many wars and movements led by great Indian kings, queens, leaders and common citizens. There are many unsung leaders too who had valiantly fought against the British rulers and sacrificed their lives to protect their motherland. The small state of Mizoram is proud of such a great woman leader and a queen, Lalnu Roipui Liani, who paid no heed to the orders of British rulers so as to protect the dignity of her land and people. Let us hear the tale of that brave woman. A report from our correspondent.
As per the official record, Lalnu Roipui Liani was born in 1830 and at her prime age she married to a famous chief of South Mizoram of the Silo clan, namely Puvandola. At that time, British rulers, after invading the tea plantations of Assam, started intruding into Mizoram territory. The superintendent of British Army in charge of the Lushai Hills, Shakespeare, had regularly imposed taxes on chieftains and hired local men as coolies. At that time, many chieftains bowed down. However, the British police had to face first challenges from Roipui Liani, who had then become chief of the clan following her husband's death. The Queen Roipui Liani refused to pay taxes, saying that she would never pay a tax to a foreigner, and also refused to bow down to the desires of letting her men be hired as coolies. The British Army Superintendent Shakespeare sent summons to her on several occasions, and the Queen had always refused to obey the British orders. Lastly, the Queen was forcefully captured by the British on 8th August of 1893 and sent to Lunglei Jail. She was later sent to Chittagong Jail in 1894, and a year later in 1895, the Queen Roipui Liani died at Chittagong Jail. The great-grandson of the Queen, Vanlalwana Silo, has shared his feeling with AIR News about the Queen. He said the Queen was vehemently against the other Mizo chiefs bowing down to British colonial rulers.
I am Mr. Vanlal Vanessailo, great-grandson of Lalnuro Puiliani, the bravest queen in the history of Mizoram. It is a pleasure that she is recognized as a brave warrior who fought to protect her land. She was also known as adamant and resilient queen who did not want to pay tax to the British government and sacrifice her life to save her people. I am proud to be one of her descendants, still alive to tell her story.
People even today remember the role the great patriot Ropuiliani played in protecting her people and the land. She is regarded as the bravest queen in the history of Mizoram. For Northeast Diary, this is Irene from Aizawl.
Sikkim has a unique Jumsa system of administration in parts of the North District. The alpine villages of Lachung and Lachen, which are the most popular tourist attractions of the district, follow this ancient system of self-governance, which has over time blended with the modern administration under the district headquarters. Today, a heritage of over 350 years continues through this administrative system.
Despite the introduction of Panchayati Raj institution in the rest of Sikkim, Lachen and Lachung, two villages in North Sikkim have retained the traditional system of self-governance under elected peoples and gapons of the Jumsa Council, which has a term of 1 year. The institution still works as an effective mode of self-governance, accommodating developmental role in the new democratic setup in the state. The Jumsas of Lachen and Lachung were given the village panchayat status under Sikkim Panchayat Amendment Act in 1995. In 2001, another amendment vested additional power to the Jumsas according to traditional and customary laws. Associate Professor of Political Science at Narbadur Bhandari Government College in Tadung near Gantok, Dr. Chungtik Lachungpa speak about the Jumsa system.
The Jumsa system is also called the Pipen system since the headman of this traditional indigenous local self-government is called the Pipen. Since time immemorial, this system is found in the two villages, Lachen and Lachung, which are situated in the northern part of Sikkim. This area falls in the region requiring restricted area permit and protected area permit for visitors since it is situated in close proximity to India-Tibet border. Historically, these villages were quite far away from the kingdom's central administration. So, keeping in mind the distance, administrative purpose, and cultural needs of the region, the system was allowed to evolve further. Perhaps it is the same cause behind the continuing presence of the system in the Indian Union after Sikkim's merger with India in 1975. Oral history sources imply that the Jumsa system was perhaps in existence in the pre-monarchical era. Further, the travel diaries and reports of the British in the monarchical period narrates about the Pipen system, like Sir Hooker, a British botanist, visited Lachen and Lachung in 1849, Colman Macaulay in 1884, Claude White, the first political officer of Sikkim, in his account on Sikkim describes the Pipen system in Lachen and Lachung, and he narrates how the system seemed to suit the people and how he allowed it to be continued. Alexandra David Neal, a Belgian-French explorer, also shares her insights on the Jumsa system. In 1950, Sikkim became a protectorate state of India, and the Sikkim Panchayat Act 1965, the Jumsa system continued even after Sikkim's merger with the Indian Union in 1975. Sikkim passed the Sikkim Panchayat Act 1993 on 11th October in conformity with the 73rd Amendment Act, and the act was implemented in the entire state except in the two villages of Lachen and Lachung, where Jumsa system continued to exist. The Sikkim Panchayat Act of 1995 recognized the Jumsa and conferred it with the status equal to Gram Panchayat. Further, the Sikkim Panchayat Amendment Act 2001 granted Jumsa to retain its traditional and customary laws in addition to powers and functions under the 73rd Amendment Act. It is very interesting to note there are traditional systems found in other parts of Northeast India too. However, most of these traditional institutions are based on clan or class and is hereditary in nature. This is not the case with Zumsa system. It is purely based on democratic election and anyone eligible can contest the election for Pipend. The norm is that politicians and government servants do not contest the election. Pipend's accountability towards the people makes the system very sustainable. Moreover, the system of recall is practiced which checks the power of the Pipend, whereby the Zumsa is empowered to impeach the Pipend if he falters in his duty. Equal voice and participation of the people in the meetings make the system effective and democratic. Last but not the least is the role of the Zumsa as a catalyst in rural development. It acts as the agency for the government, whereby all the development works are taken by the Zumsa and implemented in the best possible manner.
Development of the Zumsa system in North Sikkim regulates social life, help in maintaining a balance with nature, and was effective in isolating the entire region from the pandemic. With Saikat Sarkar, this is Diliram Dulal for Northeast Diary from AIR News, Sikkim.
The Theravada Buddhist community in Arunachal Pradesh celebrated the 49th Pavarna festival, Kanto Poi, at Changlang district last week. We have a report.
The bhikshus of various monasteries spread over Changlang and Namsai districts led the devotees to the venue to make the festival a grand success. The devotees, clad in traditional attires, thronged the venue with patesas, also known as Kalpataru. Kanto Poi is celebrated on a rotation basis after 3 months of the retreat of monsoon. During the festival, the bhikshus seek forgiveness from the gurus for any physical, oral, mental or even spiritual misgivings that might have been committed knowingly or unknowingly. The term Pavarana literally translates into inviting admonition or inviting others to advise one. The name is closely related to the history of the day. As per history, a number of wandering monks sought shelter in a residence during a 3-month-long rainy season. In order to avoid any conflict amongst themselves, these monks decided to keep a silence for the complete 3 months. When the Buddha came to know about the silence of the monks, he immediately disapproved of it, saying that it was not beneficial for any community. Instead, he advised the monks to come out in open about what they liked or disliked about the monastic life so that improvement could be made within. This marked the beginning of the Pavarana Day. On this day, the resident monks within each monastery invite and reprimand one another and also discuss the good and bad points of the monastic life. The reprimands are done in a constructive manner with love and compassion for each other. This topic of discussion is agreed upon by both parties and disagreement in the matter is sorted out by discussions. The ceremony helps in bringing about requisite changes, promotes unity, and therefore, without doubt, leads to the betterment of the community. The day is also celebrated as the welcoming ceremony of the Buddha's return from celestial realm. The story behind it goes that the Buddha spent the 3 months of the 7th rains period after his enlightenment in the Tavatimsa heaven, giving Abhidhamma instructions to his mother, Mahadevapatta, and to the other gods who had gathered. On the Pavarana Day, he came back to the earth with the help of the jeweled stairways. When he returned, people gathered in a large number with arms to welcome the Buddha. This return of the Buddha from the celestial realm is referred as the Devrohana in Thai and Pali language. For Northeast Diary, this is Rakesh Tole, AIR News, Itanagar.
It may surprise you to learn that the fashion industry is one of the world's biggest polluters. Sustainable fashion is a conscious choice to be made by individuals, not by companies. And to know more about sustainable fashion, here is an interview with Mr. Opang Jamir, a fashion model, by our presenter Wabongla.
Today we are very privileged to have with us Mr. Opang Jamir. He is a fashion model and the assistant editor of the Northeast Window magazine and also one of the curator for handloom and sustainable fashion. Welcome to our program, Mr. Opang.
Thank you very much for having me here.
To begin with, please share with the listeners why sustainable fashion is important.
When I talk about sustainable fashion, it talks about the fabrics that we use and the consumption that we have daily. As a consumer, we are yet to analyze things, because the things which are artificially made, like the polyesters and the synthetic fibers, the clothing which is not very friendly to the environment, should not be used. We should rather use clothing which are eco-friendly, like cotton, mocha, eri, tasar, all this. I'm very happy that they are still practicing this beautiful art made from this needle cloth. And this fabric is very hard to find, and it is also widely demanded in the international market as well. So we have a lot of scope, and even cotton, we have a lot of great fertile soil in Nagaland, which is very friendly, even the vegetation as well as topography for cotton plantation. And many of us, we have been hearing stories about our ancestors, our grandparents and grandmas who has worn cotton clothing, and till date we have some of the amazing hand-woven clothing which has been passed on from generation to generation, like in the villages. The women folk, they have this meglas and all, right? So silk, we have a lot of scope even here in Nagaland. So I think we should try and experiment things, and we need to wake up from our slumber, because we are totally polluting our environment in a very serious way. The waste, the left out clothing, where does it go? It has been just piled up in the dump site. And just imagine, in the statistics of 2016, India alone has already produced so much of industrial waste, especially the garment waste. And according to the statistics of 2016 by UK, they say that they have already dumped around 10,000 units of garbage, which is waste garbage from the textile industry. So just imagine India having a population of 1.3 billion, how much of textile waste we are being producing every day. We need to cope up with that as well. So we need to ponder about this sustainable. I think when we talk about sustainable again, we should not buy clothing which is not necessary. Sometimes we overbuy, which doesn't make sense. And it is okay to repeat clothing, because it is high time that we don't overuse our materials and also the products that is given to us. And when I talk about repeating clothing, it is not about showing off your wealth or something like that, but it is about being concerned as a consumer. Being concerned consumer is the right word, I should say, today. And repeating clothing is also not a fashion crime. We can always repeat clothing with different mix-match accessories and stuff like that. And you shouldn't shy that you're repeating the same clothes. You should rather feel privileged that you're saving the environment, because you're not overusing the products or the clothing or the things, the stuffs. You are concerned consumer, that is what I would say. As a sustainable curator, I feel like we need to really wake up from our slumber and do our things. So I always repeat clothing, and it is not about being frugal, but it's about the concern that I have for the environment. So I would like each one of you to understand and look into the matters and act upon it.
So now, talking about sustainable fashion, what can our handloom do in this aspect?
Handloom is gift, which is something immeasurable to our Naga society, and handloom can be a substitute for the fashion, because, as I've said, handloom contains mostly the environment-friendly fabrics that are used, like cotton, the silk, or the needle that I've just mentioned earlier. So if we can incorporate things with the science, because as we all know that the handlooms clothing are a little rough and the textures are a little thicker, but with incorporation with the scientific aspects, with various research done, in collaboration is the right word, I feel. So collaboration should be done with science and also the handloom, so that we have a friendlier clothing and a fabric which can be used daily wear, and this will help and enhance the market as well, and even our weavers will be definitely benefited through this, and their livelihood will be better. So I think we need to really incorporate and collaborate with the right people. Science should come into this, and creative people needs to wake up. The designers, they are really, some of them are working really hard in this. We have a proper channel where we are creating a space for the designers as well as the weavers and the science and the consumer as well, so that we have an amazing eco-relationship, and that will make sense as well for the longer run.
Yes, so you're also the assistant editor of the Northeast Window magazine. So kindly tell us something about that as well.
So I've been so much passionate about, writing, because even if I'm a fashion model, I wanted to write, and I always keep a journal. And so I got inspired from Vogue editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour. So she, really bloomed how the Vogue, stood out in the market. Just in a short span of decade, she made it into an amazing reading space for the fashion as well as creative people. And as we all know, that Northeast has an abundance of creative people, and I wanted to just highlight about them. And so I got into this magazine in the year 2018, and I really enjoy working and also interviewing the young creative people, from photographer to designer to, entrepreneur from a Northeast region. And our people are nonetheless one of the best talented people here. So I think we need to really highlight and really support them. Writing about them makes me really happy, and also I get to travel across the Northeast states. And that's the reason why I joined the magazine. And this magazine is also one of the oldest publishing house in Northeast since its inception in 2004. So I'm really privileged to work as an assistant editor of this publication house. And now I'm also more aware and concerned about how the things are over here in this region. And it's so interesting to really work in a space where there's creativity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Opang, for sharing your experiences and the things that you have learned during this pandemic. And you're always a person who is really positive, and it's so contagious. And I hope that, you continue to be as you are right now.
Now, let us endeavour to know more about the special places that are nestled in the cozy corners of India's northeast. Today we take you to the land of pioneers, Mokokchung, in the Mokokchung district in Nagaland.
Today we take you to the land of pioneers, Mokokchung district in Nagaland. Mokokchung is a major district of Nagaland in northeast India, and its district headquarters is located in the main urban center of the district, also called Mokokchung town. It is the third most prominent district in Nagaland, besides Dimapur, the commercial hub of Nagaland, and Kohima, the state capital. Mokokchung is also considered as the cultural and intellectual capital of Nagaland. Located at an altitude of 4,430 feet, it is home to the largest cluster of the Ao Naga tribe, where you can witness the coming together of old traditions and new age customs. Despite the rapid urbanization and growing popularity of northeast India, Mokokchung is still a relatively untouched destination. Surrounded by forested hills on all sides, it has an exquisite landscape dotted with brightly colored buildings, a serene and clean environment, and some very hospitable people. The popular tourist spots in the area include the district museum, the town main park, Unma village, which is the second largest village in Nagaland and the oldest and largest of the Ao. In addition, visitors might also be interested in exploring places like Longkhum village, which houses the magnificent rhododendrons atop the hillocks. Langpang Kong caves, situated between the valleys of Dikhu and Zula rivers, and are believed to have given shelter to an Ahom king. Molung village, where there is a famous lychee tree, which is believed to have been planted by the first American missionary, and many more sites to visit. If you don't like the hustle, bustle, heat, and the chaotic noises in the plains, visit Mokokchung district, which is tucked away just a couple of rides away from the valleys. The nearest airports to Mokokchung are in Dimapur, located at a distance of 212 kilometers, and Jorhat, located at a distance of 105 kilometers. The nearest railway station to Mokokchung is Mariani in Assam, 85 kilometers from Mokokchung. Mokokchung is well connected by road through the National Highway 61. This is Sunil Verma with Asonu from Kohima for Northeast Diary.
With that, we have come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear more stories from this enchanting part of India. Bye-bye.